Alright, I don't know how well this is gonna work. There's something that went wrong after an update or something. Huh. My mic's volume level is all borked. Anyways, I hope this works out. Okay, let me check this. Well, this is unexpected. Let me monitor this for a sec. Testing, testing, testing. One, testing, testing. Hello? It's cutting. Alright. Well, this is going to be bad. Give me a sec. Alright. This is the best I got for today. I think my mic... So something changed about my mic. Maybe a Windows update or something happened that caused the mic to lose like half of its output. So weird. Anyways, I hope this is okay. I guess we'll find out later. Alright, folks. Welcome back. 皆さん、おかえりなさい。今日は28日目です。Day 28. Probably gonna be a little slightly crackly or somewhat. Maybe some peaking. Check out. I have to replace my mic. Oh no. Been such a workhorse for all these years. Okay. Alright. So today is gonna be a short day. I guess that's very convenient. So coincidentally, it's gonna be a short day. Unless these things unlock some vocabulary lessons. We're not in the... It doesn't look like we're in the pace for tomorrow's level up. I guess we'll find out. Have no mistakes yesterday, so we're not gonna cover anything, really. There were some slow points, right? Slow points were, for old. What was the mnemonic for old? Oh? I think the mnemonic was young people have little appreciation for old things, so ko. Let me check this one more time. That level seems a little bit low. Give me a sec. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, one sec. Well, this is the best I got. Alright. So, just get into it before my mic explodes. Unexpected. Wait. What was the thing behind this? Oh, you know what? It could be one of the filters that changed. No, doesn't look like it. Alright. Okay. I think my mic is finally calling it quits soon. What did they say about the changing read on Descend? Find out. Just that you need to remember it. Yeah. Wait. Oh. Guess we can just use. I don't have a backup mic. This AT2020 has been my workhorse for. It's actually my first mic. The AT2020 has been my only standalone mic. How long has it been? 12 years? Maybe? Non-stop use? What was the mnemonic for this one? Yoshi. It's Joe and she. Oh, I suppose. Just need to know it's Onyomi and we have both. I just went over this. Oh. Muy bien car. I remember. Oh. I guess we. Yeah. Either she or ko. So, but purple. Okay, we got 2 lessons. Not too bad. All right. So this is a kun. We already know a kun reads, so Hirogeru? Read something? This is actually new. Hirogeru. Unfold something. Oh, yeah. Open up something. Transitive. Ichidan. Checks out. The kanji sub means wide, and the version is what happens when you try to make something wider. Yeah, to make something wide, to spread it out. How do you make something wider? That's right. You have to spread something, to unfold something, or to open something up. Right. All of those actions will make a thing wider. Alright. Transitive. Takes a direct object.
広げる
Hirogeru.
広げる
Checks out. Hirogeru. You are going to spread something. What are you going to spread? How about your arms so that you can fly into the sky like the superhero? Oh, that's cute. Most heroes can fly when they spread their arms. Now, there's a mnemonic for this. So, but this is our only read. That's interesting. They didn't go with so there's, okurigana after the kanji, so you kun, and the only kunri we have is hiro. Context. Oh, hey, now they're just context sentences. Oh, interesting. There's no like extra stuff. Intriguing. Wait, is this a change or probably like this? I have no point of reference. Let me change. I have to adjust all the filters, unfortunately, because the noise gate is too high now because of whatever is going on with my mic, unfortunately. No Windows update last time. I thought it was a Windows update. Let's see. So, 日本にそのワイルスを広げたのは水だった。 it was water that spread. Oh, interesting. Okay, so right. So hirogeta no hirogeta no wa so it's the water that spread the virus, that virus in Japan. Yes. Yeah. That, all right. I know it's translated right underneath, but I was going through it, like just going through it myself. Let's see. Otona 3人、3人でブランケットを広げた。Okay. 中に入ってすぐ炎広げた。Interesting. As soon as, so sugu. Oh yeah. The one that I'm most familiar with is mosuku, right? Mosuku. But yeah, and it's shortened as soon as possible for sugu. So inside, haite sugu. So that you open the, yeah, as soon as you get inside. Yes. And then open the book, spread open the book. Open the contents of the book. Huh. Neat. Or opened, because it's past tense. Well, these are in the past tense. Alright. Next one. Hiroi. Yep, Hiroi. That's my prototypic Hiroi and Hiroshima. I know it's a name, but that's how I get my prototypic read for the kunyomi. Wide is wide. Wide is spacious. All is good in the world.
Hiroi.
Hiroi. Oh, okay. So I see. So the more like specific vocabulary, they don't have like common word combinations and pattern use. I see. So it's like whatever's appropriate. A wide forehead. Oh no. Odeko. Odeko ka. Ooh, Odeko. His forehead, huh? Odeko ka hiroi. Open-minded. Shin? No, wait. I don't have a kun read for sing yet. Oh, maybe it's just sing because it's very important, because it's already written here, which means that I might have already known the read for it. The only get. Oh wait, no, sing is onyomi. Since it stands alone, I would typically look for a kun. Oh no, it stands alone, so we would go onyomi. Yeah, so shin ga hiroi. Yeah, probably shin. Space. The space is spacious. Nice. このキッチン、カウンター、すごく広いね。Yeah, すごく very. Oh no, what was this? I don't use this very often. What were our reads for these things? We had Eugene. Eugeneのアパートはなかなか広いです。芯が広い人にねor yeah, think Hito. Oh no, it might be Hiroi Jin. Wait. Nah. That's probably Hito. Hito ni naritai. Oh, that's kind of cute. All right. It just carries, right? Hito carries Hito following most frequency rules. And we have to write and not misspell spread, but something to give it a direct object. And that's it for the day. Yeah, outside of the technical audio issues, I'm pretty confident that my mic is probably slightly clipping and whatnot. I haven't changed these settings in like several years, and then something happened today. I tried to mess around with the hardware, right? I unplugged and like just to see if I might have accidentally jostled something short, but it definitely looks like it's either a software thing or the capsule in my mic has not long in this world, so I have to go look for. I gotta start scouting for an alternative mic. It would be sad to retire this mic. It's been doing so much for me. All right. Yeah, we might as well do our due diligence, right? No. Gotta do our due diligence. Oh there, Procall. It's going all right. I had an early technical issue today. I think my decade-old mic is experiencing some input frequency problems now, and experienced it today live, so I was doing some mic check in the beginning. Wasn't really expecting that. However, we're gonna have to go and figure this out afterwards. How are you doing? Just wrapping up here on Japanese. On WaniKani. Let's do our harmonics. So quickly. Oh, you know what? We could do it even more afterwards. You know what? For monics, maybe we should do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. Right? Oh, no, wait, we can't do it this way. All the stuff is written there. No, never mind. Just kidding. Oh, well, actually, we can do the 4 additional reviews. That, I guess it just turned 7 o'clock. Oh, yeah. Alright, there we go. You're doing well, thanks. Do you think you'll get a new mic, or do you think you can make this one last a while longer? I don't know. I had to quickly, since I already knew how my mic settings work, I quickly had to add 15% gain, lower the gate, the open gate and the close gate, and I had to modify my input volume on the fly, and it's looking like it's reaching not quite the level that I want, and then there's probably some sizzling now at this point. So I might end up looking for a new mic if it's the capsule that's the problem. I will probably this evening go and try to clean out and then, you know, plug it all together, reconfigure it, and see if it helps. But yeah, I looked at mics for some time. I looked at mics for some time now. Like I follow audio equipment quite a lot, but I only buy things fall apart. So this mic has been with me for I did the math. I did some quick math earlier. It has been with me for 12 years. And it's been used for at least 5 or 6 hours every single day, nearly every single day for 12 years or more. So we averaged the 12 across even the days I don't use for the last 12 years. This has been used for at least on average 5 hours a day, every single day. It's the Audio Technica AT2020. So since then, there has been some really, really fun, like cool new mics and whatnot, even preamped mics. So I like to not mess around with audio interfaces. So this mic predates the need for boosted audio interfaces for like very strong, like different types of mics. And even this mic has lasted me past the point of having like now integrated preamps and whatnot. Like the solution has gone past that. So I'll see. I'll see. It has worked efficiently. I don't expect getting like I will end up splurging. Usually most of the time things like mics that I use pretty much nonstop. Anything that I use pretty much nonstop now. The turnover equipment is going to be something a little bit exotic, you know, a little bit expensive, right? Because I don't like to replace these. I don't like replacing my mic or having to replace my mic every like 3 or 4 years for the next like trendy thing. I don't know what I will get. You know, we could go the trendy, the super time tested like SM7B with a preamp or something. Or maybe something more neutral. I'm a neutral kind of guy, so maybe something like what is that thing called? Actually, you know, might look into I don't remember mic names. Hey. Do you like audio equipment? Oh yeah, the Electro Voice, right? The Electro Voice RE, what was the model name? Is it RE20? Yeah, the RE20 maybe? Something safe. Something safe. I mean, I still would strongly recommend for mid-range mic probably still the say the updated AT2020. It's not it's been a workhorse. Mic technology doesn't change at the pace as others, but there is one that I kind of like. I forgot what they're called. They have like this red. I don't like their logo design because it's red. There's so much red. I'm not the biggest fan of red. I know it's very hot for other peeps, but not for myself. Ah, more things to do in the evening. Anyways, let's go over last routine, and then today is a short session. Do you like audio equipment? Do you mess around with audio equipment at all? I like watching people talk about audio equipment. I like watching passionate people talk about like nerding out things that I can't appreciate, but at the same time, just enjoying how excited they get whenever they talk about stuff, audio equipment, or GPU numbers and things that move at a fairly brisk pace. All right, do this. spoon, winter, dry, canopy, fingers, window, heart, direction, stool, fur, father, old, roof, ask, arrow, door, poop, towel, life, now, hat, triceratops, ice, stone. Is streaming something you just do for fun, or are you hoping to turn it into a job? I don't think I don't think anything is gonna come close to a job. In general, I like doing things because they're for self-improvement. In terms of jobs, um, I this is gonna be a little bit of a hot take. Um, I consider jobs when they are vetted and have standardization. So in the field of streaming and content creation, I don't believe, personally, for standards, I believe that it is far too nebulous to turn content creation into a job. Personally, my if I were to get a job, there is a chance I might enter the workforce again. I actually don't work, so I don't have a existing job. I don't do anything professionally. Yeah. You should have said hoping to turn it professional. Unfortunately, like I don't know what is considered professional because content creation in general hasn't been normalized, and that makes me uncomfortable. So if I had to say something, I think other people might see me as a professional in the future, possibly. However, I would not consider myself a professional, largely because there's no standards to compare it to, right? It's not like someone out there saying a streamer must do the following in order to be vetted as a professional streamer, or like a YouTuber. You know how here, like, you ever get those, like, you ever watch like YouTube content? You ever watch YouTube content where YouTubers, like very viral YouTubers, have to answer frequently asked questions, and one of them is, do you consider yourself a YouTuber or a professional? Like it's like one or the other, and oftentimes the person would say something like, oh yeah, I don't really refer to myself as a content creator. Professionally, I'm a voice actor, that kind of thing. Or I'm thinking of a very specific person, but I'll let you use your imagination. If you make money off of it, that makes it professional. That's the definition you're going off of. Well, if that's the definition, I've been a professional since after 3 months of starting streaming. I'm being a little pedantic, but technically I made money off of something since like 3 months in, which was over 6 years ago. And technically, like, for transparency and all, there are people like my friends, right? People who know me, my friends, long-standing friends, they subscribe. So the whole definition of things like jobs have been a bit of a gray area recently with all the different ways you can make money nowadays. Yeah, exactly. So I typically don't define professional jobs as money anymore because it's very tough, right? Like even before the whole content creator field and whatnot, there were differences in how you make money. Professionalism and academics make different types. They view money very differently. So most of the time, I have a more stringent thing. So would it need some sort of government rules or regulations in your mind? I think it needs a universal agreement, and it doesn't have to be government. Like, the private sector makes standardization a lot of times. However, most of my life was based on government regulations. So if that is one avenue of ways of setting professionalism, right? Um, the tough part about using words like experts, professionals, this is in the implication that there is a standard that you can compare it to. So I am incredibly uncomfortable to say to anyone that I'm either an expert, a professional, trained something because you don't have a standard to be trained. Like, for example, a basic minimum for a streamer is being held accountable for influence. And that is not a thing. At least in the United States, that is not a thing. It's not standardized practice across the board. So streamers are not held accountable, or like content creators, including myself, are not held accountable for indirect influence and behavior, right? You have TOS, and that's as light as it gets. When I am a scientist, for example, when I was doing research, the paper that I ultimately publish after 4 or 5 years of research, it is easily one of the most heavily proofread, axed, rigor way of putting out something, right? And there's no vetting process on what you can place other than like the most extreme cases, right? And even YouTube's regulations are viewed unprofessionally, in my opinion, as in people who argue against like, oh, you got to be careful about voicing opinions regarding encouraging physical violence and domestics and that type of thing. Even those, that is a borderline conventional knowledge, right? That's the things that people can agree on without adhering to standards. So that is already really tough. We know how that works, copyright music, right? Infringements, that stuff are like bare necessities, in my opinion. So I know that there are very professional people out there. The thing is, it's difficult. Everyone's going to have quote unquote an opinion on whether this person acted professionally or not. So most of the time you do the thing where, oh, this is a hobby, so I might be crap below the standard that you want. What is, I fail to be a professional Twitch streamer because I'm not actively hyping train and doing subathons and doing charity streams and then saying bruh like every 30 seconds. So that is someone else's example of a successful professional Twitch streamer. Well, that can be true. There aren't any rules, there aren't standards for it. In terms of money though, I think it takes what is a Twitch streamer? I think the average, even for a fledgling Twitch streamer, is like 3 or 4 months. You do a road to affiliate stream, and then you get the affiliate stream, and technically you made money. So then that qualifies you as a professional. And for myself, just for my own standards, I don't usually concern myself with other people's standards since it's not regulated. For myself, a professional, I am doing like, I'm barely scratching professionalism for myself, as in I have no deadlines, I have no thresholds, products to put out by certain time frames, no quality workflow that is stable and consistent. I don't have consistent clients, right? That those are the things that would make me start to feel like, oh yeah, I'm being a professional about things. I have no contractual duty to do anything. I get to choose whatever I do. That's a sole proprietorship. You could become a professional as a sole proprietorship, I suppose. Is my goal to go into a career based on molecular biology? I don't think so. That's probably not in the cards unless I meet someone who wants the closest thing I can see that blends everything. I like to do all the skills that I have. So in order for me to enter molecular biology again, right, it's been over 5 years since I worked in molecular biology. And that means a lot of things. It means I no longer have up-to-date privileged experience. Privileged as in proprietary, like privileged information that has not been published. So I'm not like in there, as well as most of the skills that I build revolve around communication. So I think the closest thing I could say that involves a professional career in molecular biology would be someone who works with either a biotech company and or a consultant in maybe the private sector. Academia is non-negotiable. Academia is non-negotiable largely due to the nature that I would need accreditation or experience. Or do I regret doing that PhD? I don't regret anything I do. I think that's a very young person. That's a very youthful and inexperienced point of view. Everything I do is the result of everything I do. So my ability to communicate, learn language is solely based on the idea that I have done a PhD. And molecular biology, that knowledge stays with me, but the skills stay with me. Like doing a PhD, maybe like a slight digression of what a PhD stands for me, right? What does a PhD stand for? The ability to solve problems, analyze problems, and innovate and create on those problems. So the semantics are semantics. What makes someone qualified, what does the PhD qualify you for is the ability to ascertain what the problem is intellectually, on an intellectual basis, solve the problem, and achieve a result that is desirable or sufficient, right? So that PhD, regardless of its context, molecular biology, it could have been any other discipline, really, because for myself, the PhD is a demonstration of being able to be proficient as a thinker, as opposed to the specific knowledge. Now, the specific knowledge dictates how you would be appropriate for a career as a jumpstart. So since I'm not in molecular biology anymore, I would have to catch up when I get in. So if an employer gives me the vote of confidence, it's like, well, we believe you can catch up in like months, months, so we'll invest in you. Then I would end up being in a molecular biology field again. However, it can be anything. I could join the JET program and go to Japan and be a teacher for English and Japanese. That I can solve that problem, right? Like, how do I get to be accepted in the JET program and then come up and develop a curriculum for teaching American English to Japanese people or something like that, or even work in a Japanese corporation. Those are the things that what makes PhD a PhD. The confidence in being able to explain stuff that you don't know and the things that you do know, and also how to improve yourself and where do you find new information. I haven't ever viewed my PhD education as an exclusive pass to privileged knowledge, largely because in academic science, you're there to contribute to the pool of knowledge, but that doesn't give you any like edge or anything in terms of skill work. That thing, those 3 letters at the end of my name tells, in my opinion, I would like to communicate to the people who see that as that I can solve problems. I can think and solve problems. I can observe things without blindly misconstruing or less likely to fail to rationalize, use logical steps like scientific method, right? Things like that. In order to get your PhD, one of the bottlenecks is to solve or introduce or observe and explain a phenomenon that no one else has ever seen or recorded yet. That is your thesis. The thesis is that it has to be novel enough in which you yourself solely integrating all the knowledge that precedes you in order to discover something. That is when you get a PhD in science. I'm not sure about others, right? I'm not sure about others. Perhaps like inventing something that no one else invented is your thesis for like an engineering PhD. But generally speaking, that's what it stands for. So when you contribute to the pool of knowledge, there's no regrets. You did it. I think being regretful is something that a person that doesn't have a life in intellectual pursuit would say more often. If I ask my friends, all my friends, by the way, I didn't share this, but my closest friends, my brothers from another mother, they happen to be brothers. All three of them also have PhDs. They happen to be identical triplets. We met in college, and then all of us went on to have PhD in science. And they're all doing different things. All four of us are doing variances of different things. But one thing for sure is, if I had to reflect, this is a personal bias because my friends are like me, but overall, we come to the consensus that the comfortable ability that going through a PhD process is, it provides us with the confidence, not arrogance, but the confidence that even if we approach things we don't know, and we don't know a lot of things in life, like most things, when we have to learn them, we don't know them. The confidence from that PhD education is we have no reservations, or very little reservation, that we will be able to learn and perform the task demanded of us intellectually, of course, at a proficient level, regardless if we start from zero or like we're the baller of privileged information. So in order to demonstrate that, most of the time 80 to 90% of my stream content is literally placing myself at a disadvantage all the time. So I call this a learning stream. However, learning streams are not popular on Twitch nor on YouTube. And when I mean by popular, I mean relatively. What typically streaming content is now is to see professionals, right? And it's not the professionals that get paid as the qualification. Right now, the nebulous trend of what a professional content creator is that they're good at the skill that they're displaying. Unfortunately, the skill that I want to display as maybe perhaps someone that has a PhD is the skill to learn and the skill to communicate how to overcome things you don't know. How do you solidify and acquire that knowledge permanently or integrate it efficiently? And that involves me constantly sharing records of me making mistakes, troubleshooting them, and then iterating on whatever I'm doing, right? It's not about showing the most efficient way, the best way of doing things. Most of the time, the streams that I create and the things that I do are me out of my element. Most of the time is me out of my element. So when someone comes in, they don't ever ask what I'm trying to demonstrate. They typically see what I'm demonstrating, and usually they have this perception that I don't take learning as a professional skill, right? So then we go back to your first question about is streaming something I do for fun, or is it hoping turning into a job? If there are lots of conditionals, but I think I would settle on I would be more comfortable as saying that I want to turn this into a professional job if, and these are big ifs because I don't control public opinion or social trends, right? I can try to influence them, but that's not, I don't really like doing that. One social trend is that learning supersedes proficiency, which that's not probably not going to happen. What you call it? Individuals are more likely to build skills on live streams. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying it's not trending. When you, for every one video of a carpenter going through like days on end, hundreds of days, working on their proficiency skills, like elevating their proficiency skills, like trying to become a professional, right? Trying to be a master craftsman. There are hundreds of existing master craftsmen, or whatever that skill is, showcasing how they are better than each other, right? It's a rat race, or whatever you call it. It's the hare wins most of the time. The figurative hare wins 9 out of 10 times on the internet. So if that societal shift changes, I can see myself becoming a professional for this. I don't need to become a professional, nor do I need a job like of this nature. If the opportunity presents itself, I generally take all the opportunities that present itself. So one of them is societal trend in idiosyncrasy online, which is the idea that there are a lot of rewards and merits in demonstrating one's acquisition of a skill versus demonstrating the skill at its peak. And the reason why I say this is largely my concern about the inability for youth, non-intellectuals, that's not a bad or a good thing. We're talking about like labor workers, those who do not, like, I appreciate labor workers because they're good, like they do things I am unable to. I am unable to like literally make things, hit things, do flips. Like I can't do those things. From an intellectual standpoint, that ended up bleeding into an intellectual standpoint. There are no merits for long conversations, investigations, discussions, that type of nature. Podcasts are barely, in my opinion, a bridge for intellectual conversation, because podcasts are the starting things of two established people. They are not necessarily typically reconciling and discussing topics in the moment. That stuff is boring. Podcast is the most Spartan Notes, like TED Talk version of intellectual discussion. They both have agendas. They both come in. They're experts and professionals in their field, talking either at each other or expressing their ideas without necessarily changing them and tangentially discovering something in the process. So they're not necessarily learning for the sake of learning. They're exchanging ideas they already have a lot of time. There are efforts to doing that. However, that would be the professional content creation that I can envision myself. If someone started a company, like technically Hank Green did before, like multiple times, I would see myself working for someone like that. So like for the molecular biology thing, a career based on molecular biology, if there is a future trend that people require someone to disseminate information, and that happens to be things about molecular biology as a representative, and that company isn't motivated by using like FOMO, fear tactics, the maximalized social trends now, bombastic hyperbolic statements, cure-all, panacea stuff, bigger and better. And then also the second societal trend that I would say that would make it possible for a professional in the streaming content is normalization of people's ability to not form all of their opinions based on expectations presented by the internet. What does that look like? So when I say I'm a professional and I'm representing this product, the first thing I'll probably hear of the top 5 comments is, oh, this guy's a shill for this company. Don't listen to this guy because this guy works for this company, so there's no way this guy can objectively nor empathetically present a product without being in the pocket of the company. That is a leap of logic. Most of the time, those are ad hominem arguments, and most of the time, it's actually true right now because societal trends support that, incentivize that type of professionalism, right? It's a conflict of interest. So it's difficult to become a professional if there's no unified standard on how you become a professional. Usually professionals have enough leeway in saying, if you are a professional, there are criteria that you have met. However, like you and me, when we're describing what qualifies as a job and what qualifies as a professional, when it comes to streamers, or content creators, that it's non-existent. So I prefer not to feed and poke the bear by using that terminology. I do not call myself an expert. I do not call myself a professional. Others do. Like, for example, if you're really good at a video game, you're a pro. That's it. My life and my history require that I meet a criteria that a large majority of my peers and colleagues agree on the standard. When someone says they call themselves a pro esports athlete, I don't even know how many people agree. Like, you could say, oh, my teammates think we're pros. Like, well, they're your teammates. What about your toughest opponents, your toughest critics? You need a third-party evaluation of your qualifications, not your best friends, right? And when I say my colleagues, I'm talking about my peers. As in science, when I publish something, my peers are my harshest critic because they're technically my competition. We're not talking about my coworkers who are in the lab with me. Those people do not evaluate my qualifications. You are stringently evaluated by a room of your competition, your harshest competition. So it's kind of like, do you expect an esports champion, like an esports guy, to ask their worst opponent, the opponent that hates them the most, to have a fair evaluation of their skill level? All I see right now, most of the time, 90% of the time, I see trash talk, butting of pride, butting of arrogance. That actually screams to me, it might be professional to them and acceptable to them, but it looks unprofessional to me, like that type of behavior. So quite literally, okay, figuratively, the vast majority of content that qualifies as professionals are largely unprofessional, and not in a bad way. It's unprofessional because there's no normalization. Like, for example, a very prominent figure that I watch seldomly nowadays broke several laws. And then what did that person do to wash all of it? They make a public apology, and that's it. And this person's well respected. They got a lot of leeway, but an apology for breaking laws is like, that's not. It's not professional, but I do believe in forgiveness, but I also believe in accountability. What allows this person to think it was acceptable in the first place is unprofessional and doesn't come with any it's on the hinge of public opinion. Hey, MAKU, classes are back in full swing, so it's been busy. Very fulfilling this semester. All right, Valentine. I was just wondering when you were going to give me an update on your university. Sorry, I was droning a little. A new professor drove up from Florida. Intriguing. Wonder how Florida professors are like. Your physics professor is also studying Japanese. Interesting. So now you can talk to your physics professor in Japanese, right, Valentine? I would love to hear what that type of conversation is. Sorry, that was a little bit long, pro call. I thought about this. With every passing year. I have been streaming without any noticeable change in reception. But how I have gone about streaming and writing and stuff, I have enough stories and anecdotes to write several books, and I probably could collect all my notes and stuff and turn them into a book or something. That might be something. I do have this romantic dream, not that it has to be done. However, if the societal trends favor me, I could see myself releasing books in my mid 40s. But because I want to, right? Not necessarily because it will fulfill my life or anything. It will add to my. I think my life is incredibly fulfilling already, without having to add on juggling, fulfilling more expectations. I need. I would love to do something professionally. It brings a lot of pride. I am. I don't want to give you the false opinion. I'm very I'm very proud of how much. Yesterday I was talking about happy dollars. I invest a lot of happy dollars into doing this. There is so much the feeling of working together as professionals, right? Working together with other professionals to achieve something bigger than myself is incredibly palpable. And being an academic scientist was that thing. Like it was like fantastic. The day to day might not feel great because well, you learn to love it, at least in my opinion. I have learned how to be consistent for many, many years, watching negative data pile up, and then, technical problems pile up, and then continue to solve them. It normalized the problems I have to solve. However, I think, like many incredibly successful streamers and content creators and whatnot, if they had a different life before then, even at that peak success, I would say the most professional of them, the streamers and stuff, would probably concede that working in actual, I know I'm using that word, working in actual professional career is far more taxing and quote unquote, let's just use the word harder than something that's unregulated. Success comes in so many pictures because it is not a professional career, in my opinion. Professionalism limits the ability to be successful. And that might sound like, well, isn't that a bad thing? Don't you want more people to be professionals? Well, no, standards go up. Professionalism is involved, right? It becomes more selective. And that when it's more selective, your pool of people willing to become professionals actually go down, and or if it's really demanding and play a lot, the acceptance level, like the quality of the level, eliminates a lot of people. Content creators is in a weird situation where both the demand, the appearance of the demand, and the standards align in a weird way. Low standards, right? Because it's nebulous standards, no one can agree on a standard, and high demand, right? Or not high demand, but high supply, and actually really low demand, like incredibly low demand. So it's like a weird pocket where if you have high supply, no standards, and low demand, generally professionalism inherently does not occur in that situation. It's usually incredibly high demand, incredibly high standards that often create a necessity, or in my opinion, one of the several factors, but these are some of the major factors that contribute to having the need establish a professional criteria. And that has not happened yet, in my opinion, in this space. Government concerns, growing government concerns internationally, like not the US and others, haven't been pushed to a extent that requires that. Nowadays, though, you can see it happening, and there is pushback because then content can't be certain ways, content can't be this way, it can't be that way, largely because universally there are things that must be vetted for. Like, for example, promoting toxic behavior persistently without promoting the awareness of how to interpret that toxic behavior, right? There's toxic behavior for jokes, there's toxic behavior for entertainment. However, those content creators are not responsible for having to raise an equal awareness of, hey guys, we are joking for fun. Just keep in mind, I do this, I entertain, we're bantering in a normalized situation, as opposed to someone misconstruing that is normal behavior, right? Like behavior that you can use in different situations. So most content creators are free to do whatever they do because the TOS and any form of legal binding vetting does not hold you accountable. So what I'm saying now, I want to preface again, I treat this like a professional thing all the time. The things that I publish publicly and all this like long digression, I try to qualify as much as I can, but that's a habit carried over from PhD. I often preface and follow up and iterate on all the limitations of my knowledge and experience. No one wants to hear that. Not no one, but most people don't even stay for that long to acquire these things because it's no longer important. There's no standardization. You don't have to know these things. That awareness is nearly non-existent on content right now. When someone says, hey, this is my opinion, and hear me, and let me tell you a little bit about why this is an opinion and these things. Let's put some context on this, and then I'll tell you the hot take. No, it's not that. 90% of the time, it's not that. It's, hey, this is the best kept secret that no one ever knows. Meanwhile, the first time I read that, it's like there's no possible way this person is going to be able to qualify this. So I click on it and I watch it and I'm like, okay, that's a pretty neat idea. It's a shame that you gave it a connotation, a context that is entirely misleading. But hey, you get the clicks, you get the views. No one said that you can't do that. In fact, you can blatantly say subversive and not accurate things and still be okay with it. And there's a whole industry or channel or even trend to provide misinformation. And we're not talking about misinformation for like health and nutrition. We're not talking about those kind of things. I'm talking about for entertainment, deliberately lying as a persona for content, or deliberate, and there's no disclaimers. You're supposed to infer it, right? When people say, well, clearly this guy's joking, right? And in the comment section say, I don't know, this seems serious. No, it's clearly a joke. You have these comments all the time, right? So when you're thinking about, is this guy professional? The answer is no, it's not. It's unprofessional. Your clients, your viewers, the people who are making content are clearly confused all the time. Now, is that what you want to do intentionally? Then yes, I guess you could call yourself a professional confuser, which, when you hire a professional, right? You know what they're going to get the job done. So when you hire a content creator, what are you going to get? You're going to get whatever they want to offer you. That's not professional. That's like, you're not hiring you're hiring that person for an opinion. That's like hiring a freelancer to do whatever they want, right? When you sponsor someone, like, I know this is going to be really weird. There's so much predicated on what a professional is that the idea of a professional has lost its meaning a little bit, or has changed its meaning. So my definition of professional is no longer the common thing. It is the normalized internet one. What's a professional? Always telling you their honest opinion. Never acknowledging that they are biased. because an honest professional, a professional content creator is always honest to themselves, and it's always honest to the viewers. Do not obey any higher organization, right? Do not have to obey any type of standards as long as they can get away with it. And that is a professional content creator. Now, when I think about professionalism, you work together as a group. So no, you do not have typically autonomy over yourself. You could be like a professional boss yourself, but then you're the boss and you set standards for your employees, and those employees are expected to adhere to your vision. That is still those type of rare professionals, like actual professionals who hold like employers, like they have employees and stuff. Eventually they tackle all the things I'm talking about, where you can't always do what you want. You have to collaborate and share and exchange and compromise on terms and services and deadlines. You have to do certain things that other people request of you in order to come to a compromise. So when it comes to someone who says like, oh yeah, I review a lot of keyboards, right? I review a lot of keyboards. So I have a sponsor, and this sponsor told me like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want with their keyboard, and like, then that's what I'll do. And I'm like, yes, that is one way to go about it. But to me, that's like the opposite of professionalism. I want to know, like, this is a differing in opinion. I want to know what my the sponsor wants me to do. I want to be informed at what they intend their products to do. Like that is very important to me, because if I don't believe in that, I wouldn't take the sponsorship in the first place, because I want to represent a product professionally as something. So it's tough. That's why I don't collaborate with anyone anymore. I tried a couple of times, but there aren't any standards. It's everyone's opinion versus your opinion. And I think one little nugget to add to all of this, like instead of using jobs and money as a baseline for professionalism, you're a professional when you can work with someone else in the same field without having an excessive conflict of interest and an arrogance prioritizing your own opinions. Sole proprietorship and be professional as long as your response, as you end up tackling the task of human resources, negotiating and working with other people. If you're your own boss and you stay your own boss and you treat other people and your employees like you are the sole person, that is a person who is more apt in being a sole proprietor that works in a field that is not professional. Content creation is one of them. How many times have you seen a expose about a content creator that expanded, started hiring other people, and it falls apart later on? Largely because they have not worked, in my opinion, or have experience as a professional yet. Oftentimes, some of our first experiences in life, like myself, is to work for someone else. And I worked for a lot of people over my life in various fields. And I understand that, yeah, you have to work with other people to truly understand what it is to form standards between people. Online content creators are not bound by that. If you don't like your viewers, you can ban them. If your viewers don't like you, they can just ignore you. Say like you're a professional electrician. If you don't do your job professionally and the company matched you with someone that you don't like and you don't want to do the work and you just choose not to act professionally, you can just give up, you get fired. You're responsible. You didn't do your job, and you put your own selfishness in front of your client and your employer. That's unprofessional. That's one of the easily representation of what a non-professional is. So yeah, I have a much higher standard for myself. Like what I mean is I arbitrarily think I have a higher standard. That might sound a little selfish and maybe a little unprofessional as well. However, when I see other people call themselves professionals, and then they suddenly shout at someone for disagreeing with them, and then go around telling them that they know what's the right way to do to someone who isn't a professional, that themselves is unprofessional. For me, that is incredibly disrespectful and misrepresentation of someone in a field. Arrogance, selfishness, pride, lapse of judgment, that type of thing. Those are places where professionals have no tolerance, right? And do I hold myself accountable for that? No, I don't. I don't want content creation to be that, because I will have off days, I'll have on days. Now, it might seem like I don't have a lot of off days, largely because it doesn't stop me from trying to be a professional. I take things professionally, but I wouldn't call myself. Like this whole conversation, that I'm trying to be as agreeable as possible without using hyperbolic words like, well, those people are wrong, I'm right, they're always wrong, this is the secret, check out this. I can give you the 5 secret steps to becoming professional. That is unprofessional, in my opinion. That's marketing. Amateur marketing, in my opinion. So if you fall for that, then that sucks, because that person who sold you the product with their top 5 secret hacks is an amateur marketer, and they are not professional because they don't hold themselves accountable for the product that they sell and the promises that they make, right? Sucks. Really sucks. Selling products on YouTube Shorts and TikTok Shorts without explaining things. Now, I'm not talking about I'm specifically using confirmation bias here. I'm talking about bad actors, not necessarily all the ones that do have products that they spend years and hundreds of hours of videos trying to explain in detail and what. Those are rare gems. And the unfortunate part is viewers don't find that engaging, right? The engagement gets lost the moment you start talking about how your product has shortcomings or trade-offs or exchanges. However, it's a professional duty to be transparent. Honesty and transparency are two, they can go hand in hand, but they often don't have to be synonymous. Like, they can be exclusive of one another. For example, my honest opinion is that this game sucks. That's, in my opinion, an incredibly unprofessional way of presenting your own opinion. Like, can you explain why it sucks? And why would you use such strong language? What about the people who like the game? Have you made a consensus for that? No, it's your opinion. It's your channel, right? Like, you're not a professional, so you don't have to worry about other people's opinions. It's not a big deal. I think the whole idea of adequately other people seeing that this person is a very professional person is because they're aware of everything regarding their opinions. They are aware when they are very good and informed. They know what other people and their competition are worried about. Like, Google is fully aware of what Apple is doing, or trying to. Apple is all up in Samsung's business, right? That's professional careers. A content creator don't have to worry about that at all. Most of the time, they're like, I do whatever I want, I do it really well, and yeah, success. Doesn't necessarily qualify you as a professional. You're really, really good and very skilled at what you do, right? You're not obligated to serve anyone. No conversation in Japanese with her yet, but we did discuss it a bit. We're definitely give it a go though. Oh man. Is the person what is the ethnicity of the person? Your Professor Valentine. Sorry, I'm like, I really like this topic. And I wanted this, I wanted to speak in a way that I don't want to say having a PhD makes you a better person. No, the application, right? It's the application. And whether you're a professional or not, you can be successful, right? I want to dispel this situation where sometimes people want to be labels because they are trending. And I want to say that this hobby could pay really well, Procall. And I hope that other people could do this hobby as a hobby and still pay really well. They could make a living off of a hobby. And that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. I think of people who do not hold themselves to a standard of obligation and appropriate. I still call them hobbyists, personally, because they treat it like a hobby until it's not. The moment it stops becoming a hobby, they burn out and they decide to quit most of the time. Like, hey guys, sorry. Like, I know I know I love this, but man, all these negative remarks when I became popular is becoming so exhausting. Like, I didn't know it was gonna become like this, where everyone has an opinion. Every day I have to deal with like answering questions and whatnot. And to me, that sounds like a hobbyist finally addressing the things that make professional and not a hobbyist. And I still do that, so I cannot in good conscience say that I'm anywhere near being a professional. However, I do lose sleep. Yes, I will admit transparently, I lose sleep every night when I try my best to answer a complicated question, because all I can think about is how can I answer this question better next time? How can I be more aware of this? Answering a question tells me all the things I don't know yet, and I should, and go out and try to improve upon it, and in all the things I could provide at the moment. So the next time someone asks me about my PhD, I will probably talk about professionalism at some point. And that's kind of um, my threshold for professional mindset. You are consistently, willingly, and able to constantly concern yourself with your client. And for content creation, your client could be 2 people. For myself, I kept it in a manageable state. You know, I get 1 or 2 strangers that like to troll and then say a sentence and leave. Those are not my clients, quote unquote clients. The people I address, I devote as much as I can to it, because if I can't do that for 2 or 3 people, I sure as heck can't do it for thousands of, or tens of thousands. And even then, I'll fail just based on pure expansion and numbers. I don't have to address those problems yet, but those are concerns that I lose sleep every night. In fact, I am fairly proud in that way, because I still remind myself that professionalism is different from me compared to other people. I lose sleep, and I'm willingly losing sleep and using that as motivation to do better, answer better, perform better. I think we can take one of those billionaire people who sell books, right, online. I can quote 2 or 3 of them. I'll paraphrase in my own word. One of the maybe many factors that is a point to successful professionalism is that when you start doing something, you do it for the sake of caring who you're affecting, who you're offering the service to. The moment you realize that, and you no longer need to focus on yourself because you have lots of problems that you didn't solve, you have coping issues and whatnot, the moment that becomes less of a problem, and then you inherently concern yourself on how to improve your craft or whatever you have based on criticism and opposition of people that you're concerned with, that is when professionalism kicks in. Largely because to be a professional, one of the most difficult tasks is knowing that you have to make compromises and adapt to third party perspective, third party opinions. Otherwise, you're only calling yourself a professional, and everyone who disagrees with you and you disregard call you unprofessional. So this would be you versus the world, and if the world has more people than you calling you unprofessional, then no matter how often you call yourself a pro, you are still unprofessional, in my opinion. So anyone who does not, in my opinion, I keep saying in my opinion because it's worth noting. This, my thought is, a professional concerns themselves with their public appeal and the opinions of all their competition, as well as all the recipients of their service. How well you negotiate that is the rate limiting step to it. So, do I spend my time doing all of this? Like, for example, am I a professional language learner? The answer is no, not by a long shot, because I didn't concern myself with using Anki. I don't have enough experience that allows me to stretch beyond this. Do I behave professionally? Yes, I try to behave professionally as much as I can, and that doesn't involve being paid. Behaving professionally is free. It's something that I'm willing to give because I treat my own self-improvement and whatnot in public. Whenever I'm in public, I am professional about what I do, regardless if I'm seen as a professional. I behave professionally most of the time in answering questions. So like when someone yells at me and say like you're wasting your time with WaniKani because it teaches you garbage, the only way to learn Japanese is to learn in context. You gotta read more books, bruh. That I see someone who clearly hasn't ever worked as a professional thinking that I might be demonstrating something, saying that I know what I'm doing, but my response would be kindly like, oh, okay, well, I'll consider it because I do read books and learn Japanese in context, but I also do this. So what is your critique now? And they're like, well, you should only do that. It's like, well, that doesn't seem reasonable because if you think of it from my perspective, there are people who use both, and most of the successful people suggest that these are both. So if you were watching videos that you claim experts say you should only do this, what kind of experts are you listening to? Because as far as I know, the entire pool of experts would agree that a holistic approach is more likely. So this person then we should be exchanging, professionally our ideas, but the people you interact with aren't working professionals, right? I kind of like grinded, overuse some of these words. That's perfectly all right though. I think that's sufficient for now. Thank you for asking the question. Really love these questions. I gives me opportunity to reflect on what I think about things. Yeah, PhD. PhD. Going back to the original question, that's PhD is. I guess you can't really be a professional in that regards as well, but PhD is the ability to navigate these problems, I suppose. How do you navigate a disagreement in order to make your way to becoming a more recognizable, lack of a better word, professional? They're all one in this. Yeah, no regrets. I typically don't find regrets anywhere. When I say something wrong per se, like when someone thinks I said something wrong and they accuse me of wrongdoing, I apologize and I use it as a learning experience. Rarely do I regret misspeaking as well. If I misspoke, it's an opportunity to learn from it. Yep. I don't want to elicit any potential red flags or fear when I'm with what I'm going to say next, but it will likely happen. I think when it is very important for one to find out when you ask someone else if they regret doing something, how much of it is from the perspective of the self. So it begs me to ask, do you regret things, right? Pro call. Do you regret choosing higher education and pursuing a life of intellectual exploration as opposed to like honing a craft, labor, or something like this is a this I wouldn't say it's an uncommon question. So it is a fairly common question. Intellectual eventually pursue like a long career in academia, and my colleagues differ from me. Uh, Other colleagues say like, oh yeah, it was unrewarding. We spent a lot of time. That's why I'm in industry right now, and I make a lot of money. Like that's fair enough, right? The thing is, oftentimes those people eventually do not have regrets. When one gets older, I love to believe that most people would eventually carry the wisdom and life experiences necessary for them to circumvent that triviality, in my opinion. It's not a trivial thing to overcome it, but it becomes somewhat trivial to address the question of regret. I rarely regret things that I do now, um, largely because they stop being regrets the instant or the quicker I learn the nature of my mistakes or how the mistake happened, find clarity on. I don't even know who, if either of you are still here, but hey, long time. If you're still here, I would love to hear some of the conversations you have with your professor. I don't even know how you speak physics. Do they use Japanese words or do they use ego or for physics? Anyways, that's a good digression for the end. I was gonna finish this. Let me finish this. Then we're gonna move on. Not 9 o'clock. I was gonna see if I could get 9 o'clock for my next review. Nope, not gonna happen. So let's do these reads. And then I guess I'll do the definitions. Well, so man, nai, bun, setsu, on, go. Yeah, you, hai, yo, i, shin, ko, you. Yeah? No. Wait. Oh, ho. Oh. You. Oh. Chi. Fuyu. Boku. An. You've only spoken in English so far. Only talked to her briefly at the end of the first date. Sort of gauge where she's at with her studies as well. She revealed that when she was younger, she wanted to go to Japan, but her mom wouldn't let her. So instead, brought a foreign exchange student to live with her and her family. Oh, that's kind of cute. And they become lifelong friends, hence her interest in language. But doesn't that mean that when she brought an exchange student, Wait, is that later? Or was she still with her mom? Isn't that a great way to convince her mom? Like, see, isn't that so cool? We should all go to Japan together. Did she eventually go to Japan? With that, like, to visit that lifelong friend? Or whatnot? That's really cute. That's such a cute. It sounds like maybe a decade to 2 decades life experience all truncated. May I ask, what was her ethnicity? I didn't. You might have missed the part. Yeah, what's her ethnicity? Is she like diaspora or um multi-generational? Maybe even like Hispanic diaspora, since it's Florida. Does she have a? Is she already multilingual and one of the, or like exposed to multiple languages? Yeah, she's definitely visited. She mentioned it. She's white. Oh, interesting. So she has no like extended parents. Like she might seem white, right? Like maybe in complexion and stuff, but there's no like Hispanic mixing maybe with living in Florida or anything like that. Florida is a pretty. I guess she might have exposure to like Spanish and, but it's always I'm curious that intense passion. That's some intense passion. Let's see. Oh, guy, guy, i, iro, ah, iro, uh-huh, ne, oh, yeah, then show, i. All right, that's it for WaniKani. Oh, uh, oh, my mistake. The professor from Florida is your new lenses. Oh, ophthalmic course professor. The physics professor is new, but not new to. Ah, okay, okay. And we're talking about the physics professor. Yes. But you don't believe she has any Spanish heritage or anything? You could ask. Interesting. That's super neat. Um, this is the reason why I'm saying this is Florida is such a interesting place. Since we last talked, Valentine, I think I met like 3 or 4 more people from Florida. In fact, you know, the person that makes Hansa Hero, right? The people that make Hansa there, both of them are from Florida. One of the brothers actually still reside in Florida, and then the other one that's in Taiwan is from Florida too. And both of them are from Tampa. So I don't know what it is about Floridians, but when it comes to like Chinese and Japanese, I don't know. I feel like there's an overrepresentation here. I feel like New York is slacking. There are a few New Yorkers. Yeah. And then of course Californians and Texans. You can kind of see a collective of very specific places at the moment. Like I'm kind of floored every time I see someone like say, "Yo, I'm from North Dakota." And I'm like, "What? Tell me about your life story because I want to know how a North Dakotan is interested in Japanese and Chinese or something like that." This is obviously playing on statistics, right? I'm not saying that I would go out of my way. It's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so weird" or something like that. I just want to hear from statistical outliers. That's so interesting. Like, how did you? So there's this trend right now that I'm observing, and I don't think it's a coincidence when it comes to however you call them, Floridians. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear that your university is stuff is doing well. How's the gym stuff, Valentine? How's the gym stuff? Are you okay? Cause you decide to like sometimes go to the gym, but then you decide to go stay home, work on, you know, equipping your home for fitness. So how's that going? Is your health doing well too? Yeah, gotta make sure your health is doing well too. Yeah, I'm gonna switch over. Let's switch. Let's conclude this. Yeah, that's the end of our WaniKani session. We had a little bit of a share at the end. I personally do like talking about my personal opinions, right? Though that was a really large amount of my opinions. So take it with a grain of salt. I tried as carefully as I can to say that my opinions have a lot of opponents. It's very underrepresented. Not that I'm expecting representation. And I tried my best to qualify that I don't expect things to change around me. But if they do, I will still put it in my all. Every day I get on, I try to do the best I can, right? I'm not going to be doing flips and once in a lifetime things, breaking Guinness records every day. The skill that I offer and the skill that I'm recording myself doing are learning. If there's anything that I can offer as a professional, is anything dealing with teaching, and that involves emotional management and whatnot. I would love to get certified and do that as professionally. I think that requires a lot of things that I would have to sacrifice at the well, your buddy hasn't invited you to go in quite a while, so you haven't been to the gym. But at home, you've been exercising almost every day, 1 to 2 rest days a week. Very nice. Sounds like a healthy balance. You do an indoor bike ride. Oh yeah, that's right. You got your bike as well. We're usually 30 to 45 minutes with a bit of resistance and some some strength training with dumbbells. Nice. Crunches and squats too. I would say you're getting much better physically, but you have to lose more body fat. Interesting. How like how are you measuring that? Or are you just doing as much and then get like if you feel better, you look better, that's good enough. I actually have no idea how people recreationally measure their body fat or like determine that their body fat is getting better or not, kind of thing. Like I don't actually have any gauge. And as soon as the weather is nice again, you'll be happily running again. I'm waiting for the weather to get slightly nice again. I am probably gonna. I've been doing like really minimal cadence running because of the heavy studying load. I've been working on my mobility again. I didn't record this in the fitness journal or anything, but I've been working on uh mellowing out my splits and stuff. So, you know, pigeon uh pigeon stretching, your I don't even know what they're called anymore. Elephant stretching, like your butterfly stretches and stuff. Because back in the day, you know, used to be able to split. Like my mobility, my lower body mobility has like gone in the poop chute. I've been doing a lot of it's not yoga, but it might as well be yoga. But your traditional type of split. Well, just looking at yourself in the mirror, really, you've been pretty overweight since you were a teenager and heaviest you think. I see. Last weigh-in a month ago was 180 on the dot. That is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. That's nearly a third of your weight. That's absolutely right on. You have a lot of flab around your upper arms, stomach, chest, you know? Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's absolutely incredible. Um I was gonna say something like maybe in 2 or 3 years I would totally fly over and run a marathon with you. Like something outrageous. I don't know. This is obviously planning for the future, but that would be kind of cool. Setting up a time, say, hey, hey, I'm gonna be 40 in that time, so it would be kind of cool to be a 40-year-old running, but it's like something outrageous or something just get out. We'll see, but it would be kind of fun to meet up somewhere to do like a running event or something. An obstacle course run. Oh no, I don't know about or that stuff is pretty brutal on joints. Not a spring chicken anymore. But we'll keep that on the mind. I always like the idea of meeting up, not for the sake of meeting up, but meeting up for the sake of an event. I like event meetups. Like not necessarily meet and greet, but more like a active social event. But underneath that now is very clearly a good bit of muscle from all the training you've done over the months. That's awesome. There's definition. Yes. Good old definition. One day a marathon would be insane, especially with you. Yeah, we should do that. One day. I can see myself running well into my 50s. So, provided I don't like suddenly die of cancer. I know that. Sorry, that was a little dark, but provided nothing like dramatic happens, knock on wood and all that stuff, I could see myself still doing a marathon in my 50s. So anytime in the next 13 years. I think I'm down for a marathon anytime in the next 13 years. And hear me out. I already have real world experience what it's like to run behind someone in a 10K who are in their 60s. So I think we're pretty set. I'm okay with that, just a leisurely. Maybe you could give me the tour of your neighborhood, like we go to like a neighboring marathon and we just tour here. This is a crazy idea, but a marathon is a fantastic way to tour a city in a way that most people would not be able to do. The one time I was part like of a marathon event, they for marathons they close down the city, right? Or they close down whatever the place is located, and it's you and a bunch of people, and you just run around in the vacant city, like everyone else is around, but you get to run, and you basically took a tour of the city, like a VIP, outside of running and being short of breath and all that stuff. It's a wild experience. So one day, I think we should write that as a perhaps in the next 3 or 4 years we'll collect other people, just meet up somewhere, maybe pick a city that you and I both would like to see it from a different lens, and we just totally meet up there and like marathon. Marathon, and then what's the greatest thing about a marathon afterwards? Carbs. Or and then like if we decide to go there earlier to like visit around the city, carbs, and then you go run the marathon, right? Not like super a lot of carbs before, but there's some carb loading before a marathon, and then after you're just like, get into my belly, a burger, get into my belly, right? I really think you can make it to a half marathon this coming season. I sold myself short starting off. What better way to see a city than on foot in the middle of the main street? I know, right? It feels like a VIP thing. I know. I'm not sure if anyone relates to this, but when you're running and the whole city, it just gets blocked off, right? Like the downtown, all the streets just get blocked off, and you're just running, dude. it feels like you're like a not no kidding VIP. Like, hey, yeah, I'm coming through, and then everyone, you're just walking and say, yep, that's it. You're so quote unquote pseudo important as a group that you get to part all the cars that you typically see are gridlocked and say, I would love in my wildest dream win the lottery for the New York Marathon just to run the New York Marathon. But people don't even get a chance in their lifetime to enter the New York Marathon. Or like the New York Marathon is one of those things like I've seen New York a lot up and down the streets, gridlocked and all that stuff. But I haven't seen it in a way where you're just nonchalantly jogging down what the street would be like completely bumper to bumper traffic. Uh, the marathon I did was DC, so in the DC area, and yeah, it was so interesting watching the entire DC area, the typical touristy DC area where you have your monuments and your stuff. You're basically just running there. It's all blocked off, and at the same time, a triathlon was happening as well. So, um, it's wild. It's like, hey guys, sorry, this day, no traffic, please. Like, it's pretty cool. Maybe an idea we can brainstorm for another time. I would totally get on a plane for those very reasons. Actually, I've done road trips for like Tough Mudders all the time, right? The obstacle course run. The downside about the Tough Mudder for me is my joints are kind of weak, so it can be incredibly painful to like drive back. So oftentimes, if I'm gonna do a Tough Mudder again, I probably like fly and have other people drive, because obstacle course like wrecks my bones. My joints don't recover as quickly as, but running's fine. I think. I think it's fine. All right, so keep that on the back burner. I'm glad to hear that you're doing really, really well. And half marathon, I mean, heck, I'll sign up for a half marathon, whichever, and it will probably promote me to work harder as well. Once the moment the weather turns warm, I'll probably do a long distance benchmark just to see if all my laxing up had an effect. But generally speaking, I do like a benchmark day, a long distance, and it would be pretty casual for what is 6 laps, or what is eight to 10 laps. That's 4 to 5 miles. Yeah, long distance day, 4 to 5 miles, pretty casual. I stopped running because it takes two, right? But 4 to 5 miles on cadence, not too bad. Obviously, a marathon is 24, so you still have to squeeze in some time to troubleshoot when you're hitting the marathon length. But usually, I don't like practice that length. I benchmark. And half marathon is 12.5 miles, something like 12. So half marathon, totally doable now. So whenever you're ready, I be game half marathon. 13.1, yeah, 13.1 miles, yeah, doubling my usual long distance benchmark days. Honestly, after like the first 4 or 5 miles, you kind of get into this like runner's high and like trucking along, and it comes down to how well you, in my opinion, like, because we're not running for speed or any, it comes down to how well your joints are holding up, right? I think a lot of times people quit when they are in their cadence speed is because their like ankle mobility, foot pads and knees and hips kind of start hurting. If you're not running for speed. If you're running for speed, then yeah, lungs and cardio, and so we're chilling. At least I'm chilling. If you want to race in a half marathon, I will go with you. I will try, but yeah, you're on your own. I have a lot of respiratory limitations now, unfortunately. I was going old, so it takes a really, really long time to get. All right. Anyways, on that note, we're wrapping up. So you're gonna watch this later, right? Arigatou gozaimasu. So until next time, for more interesting WaniKani and Japanese, and maybe a short story on the side. This has become a normal routine nowadays for WaniKani. I bring stories every day, at least one or two. Hey, welcome back, Procall. I'm gonna take a quick break here. So for the Japanese enthusiasts, right? Minasan, mata ne, ya ne. And I'm gonna get up, stretch a little, fill up my water. I will be back very quickly. I mean, I'm gonna continue streaming now, but my next stream is. And you really think you could? Yeah, and also Valentine, if you're heading out, right? Because it could possibly. I'll be back. Yep. Always here every day. I'll be back with WaniKani tomorrow. Thank you.